So when it comes to car-based movies this year, we got The Amazing Mad Max and the incredibly flawed yet incredibly fun and awesome Furious 7. And then we got Transporter Refueled. The Transporter Refueled is the 4th Transporter movie, and it's not a prequel or anything, it's a sequel. It's a sequel. I think that's made almost explicitly clear because the movie takes place in 2010. It's a period piece. The main Transporter character, Frank Martin, in the first 3, Jason Statham. I jumped out of a plane, got hit by a second plane on the way down while on fire, and I still caught the bad guy. That's not what he says in Spy, but I'm paraphrasing. He's a badass, okay? Jason Statham is a badass. I'm a tough Brit, I'm gonna punch you in the throat, and I'm gonna take your money. Okay, I'm gonna take my cricket club, and I'm gonna break your neck. Okay? I'm Jason Statham. Him, badass, ultra badass, who was in Furious 7, not utilized very well. He does not come back. Instead, we got Ed Skrein, who is gonna be one of the villains in Deadpool, I guess. And yeah, so he's here, and he's the Frank Martin Transporter character, and he's, you know, he's got a guy with a set of rules. He's almost like Ryan Gosling from Drive, except not cool and more of an action-based thing, where he's got these specific rules, and he'll transport your stuff, no questions asked, and blah, 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 blah. And he's a professional dude, and then he gets involved in this criminal plot because he breaks his own rules, and yeah, that's this movie. And I don't want to talk about it. Seriously, it was a struggle for me to set up my lights and camera and everything to give this movie the time to talk about it, because it's not worth it. It's not worth an ounce of effort to talk about this movie. It is so unspectacular and just bad. But I'm going to talk about it because the thing is, it's not bad like Pixels. I didn't even watch Pixels, but I could feel it from the collective internet. Like, Pixels was bad. That movie just rotten. I didn't watch that. There's some movies that I won't watch. I don't want to go to a movie theater and see what I know for a fact will be complete shit like Pixels. And I was like, Transporter, I've never seen any other one in my life. I'll give it a chance. I thought the trailer looked fine. I was like, this could be fun. And boy, I was wrong. And I've heard people like the first two. The first two were sort of guilty pleasure, fun, goofy movies, and people like them. Okay. But the third, I don't know if anyone really likes the third. That was made by Olivier Megaton, who, alright, Jason Statham, ultimate badass. Alright, he's got to punch a guy. Alright, let's do that in 57 cuts and new angles because he doesn't know how to do action and he's a shithead. Fuck Olivier Megaton. I hope he never makes another movie in his life. He sucks. And this guy, what did this director do? Camille Delamarre. He made Brick Mansions, that one of Paul Walker's last movies, and admittedly terrible, and then this, and then he edited Taken 2, Lockout, Columbiana, Transporter 3. So, that begs an interesting question. Olivier Megaton, terrible director. Do you also blame the editor for how the fight scenes are all poorly edited, where it's like just fast cut? We don't need to fucking see shit. Do we blame this guy for that? I think you could give him some blame for sure. We still hate Olivier Megaton because he's a fucking terrible director. But this guy, he's still doing that in this movie, because in this movie, I don't know if Ed Skrein is a badass. I don't know if he can convincingly beat the shit out of someone. I can't tell because the movie didn't actually show me. It tells me he's a badass, but it doesn't show me it because, alright, we're gonna have a fight scene and it's gonna be too quickly edited. It's not as horrible as Olivier Megaton movies. Like Taken 2. What the fuck was that? It's not that, but it is too quickly edited. It's too quickly edited, so you can't really tell. He's supposed to be kicking their ass. I can't really tell. It's not even staged all that well half the time. Like, it's just, this movie is generic to the worst. It's the worst kind of generic where there's absolutely, it's not so bad that I can even be pissed off and yell like, this movie's a piece of shit! It's not even that bad. It's just so generic that it becomes really bad. It's so unremarkable in every way. Ed Skrein does not give a very good performance. Because, let's be honest, he's in the role Jason Statham made famous and kind of got famous off. He did the Lock, Stock, 2 Smoking Barrels and Snatch, then he did Transporter and became Jason Statham. And this guy's got to be Jason Statham. He's no Jason Statham. He's not Jason Statham. Hard ass Brit. I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna be cool doing it because I'm Jason Statham. He's just got a personality up the ass. He's a hard ass. He's just a tough guy, yet he's fun and like fun to watch. This guy, he seems like he's having fun, but he doesn't seem like a hard ass. He's just not Jason Statham. And he kind of has to be. And also the bad guy in this is the fucking bad guy from Die Hard 5. Why does that guy keep getting jobs? Because this movie and Die Hard 5. European villain that is terrible. He's a terrible actor. He's got no personality. He's the Jai Courtney of Europe. Give him that. He's got no personality. He's terrible. Die Hard 5, at least he chewed a fucking carrot and tap dance. He doesn't even get that in this movie. He sucked, and thinking about it, it reminds me of a scene. This movie actually thinks I'm an idiot. This is just a little thing in the movie. It's not even worth bringing up, but I'm going to bring it up because I need something to fucking talk about. There's a scene that takes place in 1995, and it's the Die Hard 5 villain. And he shows up, shoots some pimps, and then puts his hose out in the street like, alright, work here. We're going to work in this spot. You see all these dead bodies? Who cares? Just try to pick up some johns here around all these dead bodies. Don't even worry about the cops. Like, that's what happens. And then, not even 2 minutes later or something like that, we get to modern 2010 version of the bad guys. And all 4 bad guys, it shows them, and then it shows the black and white flashback to them in 95. It's like, you think I'm fucking... I'm not a fucking idiot. I can tell who's who. He got a haircut. I don't know who he is anymore. Like, really? Come on. Come on, movie. And then there's some things that are sort of funny in a bad way. Like, I forgot about it, and then I heard someone bring it up, and I was like, that was actually pretty funny. Frank Martin's fighting someone, and then he like punches him, and God's like, you jerk! And they're on a boat, and for some reason there's like 6 battle axes they're gonna fight with. Like, there's another scene, a fight scene, poorly staged, and cinematography, choreograph, everything. But he's in a car with the 3 women that are his packages, and it's going like 2 miles an hour or something. There's a bunch of dudes, he gets out, lets the car keep going, and he goes to beat them up. Horrible action scene, and they're freaking out the whole time like, oh my god, look, 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 because they're driving like this slow towards a fence. So, the worst thing happens, Frank doesn't get back in the car, and it goes... And that would be it. And they're freaking, oh my god, we're gonna hit the fence, quick, touch the car, quick, drive, stop, hit the brakes, something, we're gonna fucking crash! And they're going 2 miles an hour. It's just, like, come on. It's not the worst movie ever. It's not. It's just so... It's bad. It is bad. It's funny bad for like 5 seconds. And overall, it's just generic awfulness. It's almost like the opposite of Mad Max, a car-based movie that deals with feminism. Where Frank Martin's helping these women who are sex slaves and they want to get revenge. And that's sort of the thing in Mad Max, is these women are trying to get revenge or at least escape from the sex slave thing. And in there, Furios is an amazing character. They're strong characters and it works out. In this one, all the actresses are not very good. They're indistinguishable and unmemorable. There's only 4 of them, and I could tell who one of them was and I forgot the other 3. They don't matter. They do very little in the story. You don't care about them, and they all die and you don't give a shit anyway. Like, some of the worst female characters. We're gonna escape from sex slave, we're gonna get revenge, we're gonna be strong, independent women, and then they all die except for one, and you don't care because they're not strong characters. They're actually sex objects. They're trying to escape from sex slavery and become sex objects for Frank and his dad, who I didn't mention. His dad's in this movie, played by Ray Stevenson, the Punisher, and he's in Thor. He was the only good part about this movie because he seemed like he was having fun. He got to hang out with some hot chicks. He clearly wasn't like invested. He was just having fun. Like, I'm gonna be the fun guy in this movie. Personality up the ass. I'm the thing people are gonna remember because I'll just have fun. Frank and Frank Sr., the sex slaves that are trying to escape from that become sex objects for them. It's like, this is a little offensive. I can imagine when people say, oh, Mad Max was feminism propaganda. This is the opposite. This is like completely demeaning to women or something. Just like, this movie fucked up. And really, by the end of this movie, Not a great story, not well choreographed, filmed, anything. The acting, forgettable. The whole movie's very forgettable. And by the end of it, seriously, by the end when it's the big villain showdown, main characters, the women we should be caring about are dying, people are getting shot, Frank's gonna fight the bad guy on a cliff. It's like, I don't give a shit. At that point in the theater, I was sitting there going, wow, this movie is bad because I clearly don't care. I'm watching it, this should mean something, even a slight anything. And I could care less. I could care less. An asteroid could come down the background and then boom, and then the whole world blew up, and I would be like, thank God the movie's over. The second those credits rolled, I was fucking out. I didn't care. The movie sucks so bad. I hated it, actually. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's so generic and forgettable and unremarkable in every way. It became terrible. It's a terrible fucking movie, and I hated its guts. It's in like the top 3 worst movies I've seen this year. I haven't seen Pixels, which is why. If I saw Pixels, it'd maybe be number 4. But this movie sucked. I would give The Transporter Refueled an F. I hated this movie's guts. And I might watch the first 2 eventually if it's on Netflix or something, but this... And not to mention, another minor thing I don't know if I mentioned, Ed Skrein. Not only does he know Jason Statham, because I don't buy he can kick ass, and he doesn't have that ultra male bravado, I'ma punch you in the throat. Like, he doesn't have that, but also he's got too much hair. Jason Statham doesn't have that much hair. So it's like from 2003 to 2007 or whatever, very short hair, and then in 2010 he just grew his hair out a lot longer. He's a pretty boy. He's more of a pretty boy. He's not a badass. That's a problem. So yeah, The Transporter Refueled was a pretty terrible movie. Comment below if you saw it, which I don't think anyone did. Seriously, I went to the theater on a Sunday afternoon or something, and yeah, there was me and one other guy, and we were just both like, well, this isn't gonna be good. It sucked. No one saw this movie, but if you did, comment below, tell me what you thought of it. What do you think of the other ones? If you say you like number 3, I don't trust you, because how could you like number 3? But if the first 2 are actually worth watching, let me know, and I will probably check them out one day. What do you think of this? And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.